God damn it.
All right, so this is the newest episode of BetaBeards. Welcome, everybody. I'm your host for this evening, Dean Rosen, and with me is Schulze, Bibo Reyes. How are you guys doing today?
Really good. Really good. 2022.
It's a new year.
Yes, sir.
And, old habits, because we're talking about superhero movies once again. But this time I wanted to mix it up because of some things that we discussed, last week, which really tickled me. And I feel bad hosting this episode because, gosh, did I ramble on in last week. But I'll try and control myself.
No. Dean, you're a pleasure to listen to. Don't
that's when we're at our best. When we're in just this stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
Just whether out of love or out of hatred. And I feel like today's episode is going to be somewhere in between.
Absolutely. I think there's going to be plenty of both, because today we are going to be talking about superhero movies that are so bad they're actually good, or superhero movies that we love to watch even though they're bad. Or it's not really the same as the guilty pleasures we had a few weeks ago. It's more superhero movies that we know are terrible, and that are so terrible that we love them ironically. And there's plenty of anybody have something that jumps out? Because I mean, of course, there's there's ones that everybody knows about.
You know
what?
what?
Do you guys think?
I will jump in with something.
Go.
I literally
Yeah,
just
please.
realized now. My dad was responsible for introducing to me the concept of So Bad It's Good. And it was via a movie, a film. And you could say it is a superhero movie, especially by today's standards too. And I haven't seen the main series of this. You'll know what I mean when I mention it. And I love this movie, even though I've only really seen it once when I was a child, and I can't even say I watched it from start to end. I haven't seen the main series, which is the second entry in the main series is the more like celebrated one. But the movie that my dad used to introduce the concept of So Bad It's Good to me is, I don't know if you will agree, but it's Army of Darkness, which is technically Evil Dead 3.
Yeah.
Starring Bruce Campbell, because it's the campiest, dumbest shit ever. Yeah. It's Bruce Campbell at his finest, in my opinion. And
absolutely.
It's Klaatu Viratam, it's all of that stuff. Him with his, have you seen any Evil Dead or Army of Darkness, Georgie?
No, I can't say that I have.
Well, his character, he loses his hand or his arm, and he replaces it with a chainsaw. And there's this scene where he just leaps up from like this bottomless pit and like catches the chainsaw right into his arm, and he starts cutting zombies up or whatever. It's that kind of movie.
Yeah.
And it's obviously self-aware, but it's what made, like, even at the young age that I saw it at, my dad was like, check this out, people, isn't it so stupid? And I was like, oh my god, this is great. Like, even at that young age, I was able to recognize, like, this is so dumb, but it's so good. And the intentions of the people behind Army of Darkness notwithstanding, it made me realize that there can be something that is just, you enjoy it for some very ironic reasons. So
I have a question though. Are we doing So Bad It's Good superhero movies, or So Bad It's Good all movies?
Well, I did say like you can argue that Army of Darkness is kind of a superhero movie, especially by today's standards.
But just because
Ash a superhero, I would consider him a superhero.
Because I feel feel like if we don't restrict it to superhero movies, we could we'll go all over the place.
We'll go on all day.
So let's. I feel like we should challenge ourselves.
The challenge was finding superhero movies.
Yeah.
But if we run out of superhero movies, by all means, your favorites, bring them in.
For sure.
I will come in with a second, and this. It's not a superhero movie until close to the end of the film.
Okay.
But it's so bad, this movie. But I just completely relate it. Number one, to being a kid and just being excited for this to come on HBO during Christmas, which is Arnold Schwarzenegger's Jingle All the Way. I'm not sure. I am and that's right.
A great,
like, it's a superhero movie,
example.
Only really at the end.
So good.
But
so
like,
good.
you know what, dude? If we still watch TV and I saw that on HBO, I wouldn't turn the channel. I'm telling you now, I'd be watching.
I wouldn't either, to be honest. I would absolutely watch that film. Okay,
I understand why it's bad, but I can't help but love it. So
there's absolute, just like terrible. What do you call it? There are terrible role models of main characters.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. But
oh man.
But that's my pick. I think.
But some of it, I think just because I watched it when I was younger, though, it's like some of it like genuinely tickles, like not in the way that they intended, because the way they intended was like, he fall over,
Yeah.
But I guess that's the whole point of this is like the irony of how unbelievably why they thought any of that would be funny really tickles me. And there's just something about it that's what's really funny about it is how 90s it is.
Exactly.
It's so of the time.
And I'm such a sucker for anything that's like of the time, which is why I'm really excited to watch Blade. You suggested it to me last episode. And
do you watch Community, George?
Yeah, I've seen Community.
I can't believe Community didn't like convince you to check out Blade without Troy and Abed are like, Blade's just the best movie.
Yeah, Troy.
Because it's true.
I will though. I'm gonna get to it. I definitely want to watch.
Apropos of nothing too about Jingle All the Way, that movie and Flubber. Those two movies, they introduced me to the concept of where is that thing in the trailer? Why is it not in this movie? In Jingle All the Way, it was Arnold. He and his like nemesis dad were like there's a scene in the trailer where they're like reaching for the last piece of Turbo Man in the store.
Yeah.
It is not in the movie. That does not happen in the movie.
That's so interesting.
That type of slapstick beat that doesn't happen. And then in Flubber, in the trailer for Flubber, there's a shot where Robin Williams sneezes and then an explosion happens, and it's insinuated that Flubber is made out of snot because that's in the trailer he sneezes and there's an explosion. That doesn't happen in the movie. He doesn't sneeze once in the movie, and I was like, what? I was excited for
0 stars.
Yeah.
Robin Williams doesn't sneeze once.
He does not create a snot creature out of his own freaking bodily fluids. This movie's a failure. Take it out. Never mind.
I love it. That's another so bad it's good. Okay, speaking of the 90s, I've got to come in and just remind you of the granddaddy of all the so bad it's goods. And here's the thing. A lot of people don't recognize this as a so bad it's good. They just think it's just plain bad.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's because it was so insulting at the time, because we were all really hungry for somebody to take superheroes seriously at this point. But this movie, me and my brother watch this movie regularly, like maybe like on a yearly basis, because it's so funny. And that movie is Batman and Robin.
Oh, dude. Oh, my God.
Like, there's a new joke every time we watch it. Like, I remember the last time we watched it, previous times we were just laughing so much we didn't notice that there's a picture of like, this is the last.
I love how Arnold Schwarzenegger has come up twice now.
I know, right?
Let's see how many times he makes his way.
It was like, this is the last known image of Poison Ivy or whatever. He shows a picture of Poison Ivy in a car. And Bane is like driving the car, like with a fedora and a trench coat. Because in the 90s, if you wear a fedora and a trench coat,
no one will recognize you.
Doesn't matter if you're a Ninja Turtle. No one will fucking know that you're a monster. And he's just there like this on the fucking...
Oh shit! I don't even remember that. But that's so, you know what? I feel ashamed because, okay, full disclosure, before this episode, like George and I were like, we're not so confident in that we're able to make good pulls for what we're going to talk about. But Batman and Robin is the best example of that because I have such a soft spot in my heart for that movie, as terrible as it is. Just because of the nostalgia and like,
yeah.
I don't know. I think it's, there are a lot of fans of the Schumacher Batmans and I think it's a credit to why they've endured through the years as an indelible part of the Batman mythos, as trashy as they are, because they're so trashy.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought up Army of Darkness, Bibo, because there's this point that I wanted to make about Batman and Robin, and I was actually going to bring it up in the Guilty Pleasures, but it's like, at what point do we have to acknowledge that they are self-aware? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because there's no fucking way that Uma Thurman gave that performance without being self-aware. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was magnificent. She actually says curses when she's about to die.
Oh God. I think it was a victim also of its era, in the sense that movies had gotten to the point, or like blockbuster movies had gotten to a point where the costumes look good enough, the props look good enough, film in general looks good enough that you subconsciously are led to be like, I should take this seriously. But then you have Uma Thurman going coices and all that stuff. And there's this dissonance that happens. It's like, wait a minute, hold on. What am I supposed to latch onto here? And I feel like the production itself was a victim of that. Like, what are we trying to achieve here? You know, are we making like an earnest thing, or is it going to be bat nipples for 2 hours? And,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the fact that they brought in cast from the Tim Burton movies as well didn't help. Like with Alfred and Commissioner Gordon. It's like, I think that the studio was very confused about what they wanted, but I think Joel Schumacher, Uma Thurman, Arnold Schwarzenegger, George Clooney, I think they knew exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, you know what?
I think
you have to know exactly what you want to put a Bat credit card in the movie.
Yeah.
You have to know exactly. I mean, has any other Batman property ever had that credit card?
Because if Batman and Robin came out today, but you tweak the costumes a bit, you tweak the cinematography a bit, people would love the shit out of it.
Yeah, right? I agree.
Yeah.
To a degree, if it comes out today and you replace all the characters with Lego versions of them, people would be like, that's a great Lego movie.
I mean, it's like a lot of people will point their fingers at that because there are some scenes in the Lego movie that are genuinely good Batman scenes.
Yeah.
Like the opening plane heist was genuinely really cool.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
And things like that. But
I think I'm gonna watch the Lego Batman movie again after. And I wanted to because Bibo really had that as his pick in one of the earlier episodes, and I told myself I'd watch it again, but talking about it now is reminding me that's what I'm gonna watch.
That song, man. Will Arnett's Let's Get Nuts song. Or no, it wasn't the Let's Get Nuts song. It's just the fact that they have Let's Get Nuts in that movie is so good. Just the line in and of itself. I have one, but I will say I don't have much to say about it, just because I haven't actually seen it. I've seen the Mr. Sunday Movies Caravan of Garbage on Steel.
Interesting.
Starring one Shaquille O'Neal.
I have Steel on my list. That was my second movie.
There you go. Isn't it just like you love it? Because number one, it's so Shaq. How can you not?
Yeah.
And then it's the dumbest costume ever.
Yeah.
And three, just appreciating the fact that, like Shaq's nickname is Diesel, but he also went by Superman. He found a way to play Superman. by playing Steel in one of the most god-awful 90s superhero movies ever. And it's great. It's freaking fantastic.
Can you imagine Reign of the Superman with that Steel?
Oh my god, he totally should. He totally should.
I would bring back Shaq for that, man.
The Flash movie. If the Flash movie doesn't bring back Shaquille O'Neal as Steel in full Reign of the Superman garb, they're doing something wrong. What's Sorry,
What's
dude.
so funny about that movie is that I still like. Okay, look, his name is John Henry Irons. You can't change that. But I think that you could make a good Steel movie. Like it has elements of. Of course, it's sort of an Iron Man ripoff, right?
Yeah.
But it has elements that they brought later to different. I'm not sure.
You know what?
Came first,
Sorry.
But
I'll. This is a bit of a spoiler, but I don't. If your answer is no to the question anyway, and spoiler alert for whoever's watching, if your answer is no to the question anyway, then it's not really a spoiler because you weren't gonna do it. But I'm gonna ask if you've seen a superhero series that came out recently. Apropos of this. Have you guys seen Superman and Lois?
No.
They do John Henry Irons so well in that show. So
interesting. Yeah. I sort of wrote off that show because not that I dislike the
CW stuff. It's the best CW one because it's the most un-CW one.
Interesting. So, I did like the Flash series.
It's miles ahead of that garbage. I'm sorry. I love it too. I love the Flash show too. But also, it's trash.
But it's very CW. Yeah. It's very much exactly what they do, the kind of series that they make.
Yeah.
But interesting. I might actually check it out now.
Sorry, George. I unknowingly stole Steel away from you.
No. I mean,
what do you love about
Steel? It up first. No, I had a very similar entry point as you in that I watched it so long ago. I remember how goofy the costume was. I remember the interview of Shaq of him just going like, "I just want to play a superhero," just like that. But that interview where he talks about how Steel was gonna be such a big deal. That's in my head. And just
I remember
remembering enjoying. And he's like, "If you want to see the best superhero, the strongest. It's me, baby. It's Steel." It's just like that type of thing. I just remember that.
Oh God!
I remember that movie was not really advertised in theaters or on TV, but on VHS tapes. If you rented VHS tapes, man, there was a trailer for Steel on every single one that I rented.
Yeah. Oh my God!
VHS has always had a trailer for Lady and the Tramp and Steel, they always had their specific.
I have one.
Air Bud.
That I loved it unironically when I was middle school young boy jealous. I don't know if it'll hold up now, but there was The Mystery Men, right? Which was a great movie.
Yeah.
It wouldn't classify as so bad as good, but it's just great. There was a movie that came out that was kind of riffing on Mystery Men a bit, and it was written, if I'm not mistaken, by one of our one of our heroes of superhero cinema in this modern day, by one James Gunn. It's called The Specials, and I think it would.
I've never heard
you need to watch The Specials. I think it would classify as a so bad it's good superhero movie. It's basically Mystery Men on a budget. But it's great. What's his name? I think it's Seth Green, or an actor who looks like Seth Green. No, it's not Seth Green, but here's how it's so bad it's good. One of the running jokes in the movie is there's this character. The way his name is spelled is Minuteman. So you read it and you see Minuteman, right? Until you realize he has the power to shrink, and his name is Minute Man, and everybody gets it wrong.
That's pretty good.
That's so James Gunn.
Yeah, exactly.
That's real. I love that.
Yeah, check it out. The Specials. I think it was written by James Gunn, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
That's awesome. I definitely will check that out now because I do love Mystery Men. And to be honest, a lot of people really don't like Mystery Men.
Nah, well, screw them.
It's like, look, it's like sort of like Batman and Robin. It's like, do you think these people are being serious? Like, they're not being serious. Like, of course, it's a comedy and it's like a ripoff of. But like, how can you not laugh at a guy whose power is just that he gets really
Mr. Furious?
But he has no other power apart from that.
No, it's making me want to watch it. I don't have memories of it in my nostalgia memory banks.
But do you think you've probably seen it, George?
I've probably seen it. I'll have to look it up. What's it called?
Mystery Men.
Mystery Men.
Yeah,
it's on Netflix if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my god, such a good movie. Hank Azaria.
Mystery,
what's his name?
Yeah.
What's Hank Azaria's character's name?
The Blue Raja.
Oh my god, of course. Yes. All right. Yes. Seeing Ben Stiller now, it all is coming back.
So good.
Movie, like, look, I know that in the 90s there was a lot of immature like potty humor and like haha he fall down humor, but if you just take out the stuff that was like, you know, this is the 90s, it has to go in there. I swear there's a really funny satire underneath that movie.
I just realized because Kel Kimball, what's his real name? Kel
Mitchell.
Mitchell is in that, right? And he's like Invisible Boy or whatever. But George, it's the best superhero bit of all time, in my opinion, just because his power is he can turn invisible, but only when no one's looking at him.
It's so stupid.
See, how can you not laugh at that?
Oh man.
That's like the spleen. Like the spleen is the thing that everybody's like, oh, it's just potty humor. But how can you not laugh at a guy who can only turn invisible when no one's looking? It's so funny.
And James Gunn directed this or wrote it?
No.
James Gunn wrote the specials, which is sort of like it clearly sort of went off on what the Mystery Men did. But Mystery Men is just, it's not so bad. It's good. It's just perfect. It's
just good.
It's just good.
It's a funny satire that sadly has a few 90s tropes that it couldn't get rid of. But
okay. Wow. All of these movies I'm so interested to check them out for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get Dean into like, because Dean's gonna like go in. This is really his topic, and I'm sure he's gonna get into some great ones. I'm just gonna give my last pick.
Yes, please.
And you can argue this with me if it's not a superhero movie. I personally think it is, and I think it's one of the greatest movies of my childhood.
Oh, yeah.
And that is just simply the Power Rangers movie.
Absolutely!
The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie?
The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie with Ivan Ooze, Lord Zed. Like, that
good pick, Georgie. That is a good pick.
Coming out of the plane where they skydive. Like...
So good.
And then what's the line of Kimberly when she kicks them? She's like the see you next fall. Bye-bye. Like something like that. I fucking like something in the spring. See you next fall. But like I think, and it's sad that it's not rated high, but I remembered watching that movie like and just coming out like that was the best.
Bro.
They were ninjas. Tommy was the White Ranger already. Oh man, everything.
I remember once the Ninja Megazord started getting formed.
Yep.
I will never forget sitting in that movie house being like, this is why cinema exists. This is why it's oh my god. See, parents, I told you we need to watch this movie. Look at it.
Dude, I'm not sure if you saw it, but there was like in the Philippines we had it. We had the Power Rangers on Ice. And
oh my god.
What?
Yeah, the Power Rangers on Ice. And as a kid, like I somehow, I don't know how, convinced my parents to take me. And as an adult now, it's making me question everything my parents ever begrudgingly did for me.
No, I didn't see Power Rangers on Ice, but my parents took me to like one of those road shows. You know, where they set up they set up this stage and they do this really, really shitty, lip syncing little show that they do.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. George and I actually have an interesting anecdote regarding road shows because
is this the Netflix one?
No. Well, it wasn't Netflix. It was for Lifestyle at first, I believe.
Okay.
But oh my goodness. We George and I were in this television show in 2014, I think. Called, the full name of it was The Boston The Kitchen Musical, which is very, very confusing because it was the second season of a show called The Kitchen Musical, but it wasn't called Kitchen Musical Season 2. It was called The Boston The Kitchen Musical. And it was we had a wonderful time making that show. Actually, it's where I really got introduced to the world of theater and a lot of the friends that I still have today, including George. So it's a wonderful, wonderful production. However, when we were doing the marketing for the show, we did a road show, and it was around Christmas time that the show was coming out. The show was coming out in November. So we basically, our road show was silly. It was to sing like Christmas songs at various venues around the Philippines, and unbeknownst to us, a large portion of our tour of our road show, we were actually the supporting act, and the act whom we were supporting was Doraemon.
What?
As in a big Doraemon, mascot of Doraemon dancing around for kids, and then there's literally like rows and rows and rows of like preschoolers who are like looking up with their cute little faces at Doraemon, going ha ha ha, clapping, and then we're expected to go on stage after Doraemon, sing a bunch of Christmas songs, and be like, by the way, if you like Doraemon, maybe tell your parents to catch our primetime show about people cheating on each other. It's like, it was so funny. It's just so
dumb, dude.
Anyway, back on topic. We love going off topic. Actually, I love going off topic, but so bad it's good films. Like, here's the thing. I'm really hoping that neither of you have heard of this one.
Okay.
Or neither of you have seen this one, because I would love to describe it to you.
I'm excited.
And the movie that I'm talking about is, I can't remember what year it was made. It's in the 80s, okay? It's Supergirl. Have you guys seen Supergirl?
When I was a kid, but I barely remember it.
Okay, so this is literally in the same universe as the
Donner ones,
Superman movies. Like Jimmy Olsen appears in the movie. There's pictures of Christopher Reeve that they reference. They reference the events of Superman 4: A Quest for Peace, which is also both of like 3 and 4 could also be on this list.
Yeah.
but Supergirl is it's so special. So the concept of Supergirl, it starts out, there are just Kryptonians, okay, that are floating around on this spaceship. So, immediately devaluing Superman. There are just Kryptonians wandering around on the spaceship. They're all wearing nightgowns. Who knows why? Because you see, as the great Peter O'Toole, yes, he's in this movie.
Oh my God.
As the great Peter O'Toole explains, they are in inner space because they traveled from outer space into inner space. Okay, so the whole concept of this movie, this is not a joke at all, is that Peter O'Toole's character just happens to have in his pocket the source of all their power. Like, everything that makes their civilization run is in this little, like, ball that looks like something you pick up at a fairground, right?
Yeah.
And he's literally like, Here, Kara Zor-El, the cousin of Superman, no big deal. Here, Kara, play with this. And then she accidentally loses it. And it flies into outer space where the planet Earth is, right? And they basically have a day or something. They have a certain amount of time before they all die of starvation or hunger or cold or whatever because they have no power. So Kara Zor-El decides to go by herself. Nobody chases after her. But she decides to take one of those little, not a birthing matrix, but one of those little escape pods back to Earth to find this thing that she lost. Okay? But this is not a joke. When she gets to Earth, she gets distracted because she sees a girls' college. And she's like, I want to go there. Her entire, the remainder of the Kryptonian race is about to die because of her doing. And she's like, I kind of want to go to college and meet a boy. And, oh my God. And then I have to say though, one thing about this movie is absolutely everyone in the beautiful guy and men and women is beautiful in this movie. Just like stunning. But you know, that just goes to show what their priorities were.
And it's crazy when you think of these movies, like it feels like they were made during a time when the world was so small that like the old Hollywood execs behind this were probably like, of course she wants to do that. She's a woman. Yeah, of course she wants to see what the world is like. But she's an alien, but she looks like a girl.
Yeah. Like
it does not matter that she's from another planet. She probably doesn't even speak English. Whatever. Let's go.
And oh my God, there's so many moments in this movie. Like, there's that wonderful, wonderful 80s cliche of let's practice kissing in the mirror because, you know, I'm a girl. Is that even an 80s thing or is that more of like a 40s thing? You know what I mean? And like, it's just, this movie is wonderful. I'll just rattle off a few things that happen in the movie. What do you call it? Kara zooms across the sky in a bumper car holding a bumper car that is shaped like an American football player, and then there is a guy that gets attacked by a digger crane. There's a monster from the Phantom Zone that comes and stretches Kara like this, and the way that the special effect that they chose to have her stretch is that they just took the image of Kara going like this and literally stretched it. Like, it's like,
I have to Google this like this second.
You have to. You have to watch this movie.
God. Speaking of, you know what?
I absolutely love it.
You talking about Supergirl and the Dawn of Superman makes me just want to say real quick about Superman 2. So have we all seen both versions of Superman 2?
I think so. Okay. I think I've seen the.
What about
Too long ago though. Too long ago. Not in recent memory.
Yeah.
What's the name? What's the name of the other director? I think his first name is also
Richard.
Richard.
Oh my goodness.
Something.
I can't remember.
Let's call him Rick, and let's call the other guy Donner. So it's just, I feel like, okay, so the Rick version of Superman 2 has its fans, right? Mm-hmm. It's technically the canonical, you know, it's a Zack Snyder's Justice League situation, right? Because it's the Donner cut of Superman 2, right? Is the celebrated one. But I feel like the Donner cut of Superman 2 is just such a perfect superhero movie. And then
I agree.
And then the Rick version of Superman 2 is a great example of so bad it's good. Because just by, not necessarily on its own, but by contrast to what the actual movie was meant to be and what we eventually saw in the Donner cut. Because, and one thing that gets me is, you remember, so in, spoiler alert, in Superman 2, Lois finds out that Clark Kent is Superman, right? She finally acts like a reporter and figures out that he's Superman.
Instead of asking how many L's there are in a word or whatever.
But me saying that and her acting like a reporter is so okay. is very telling, because in the Donner cut of Superman 2, she finds out by shooting him, right? With a fake bullet.
Yes.
And then it's this beautiful scene where Margot Kidder, right? Is
Yeah.
like she's like, I'm on to you, I know who you are, blah blah blah, and then she shoots him with a blank, but Clark thinks it's real, so he's like, and then he thinks it's the bullet just bounced off of him, and he's like, I've been found out, God damn it, Lois. But then Lois is like, holy shit, you are Superman. This was a fake, it was a blank. You had no idea. And then it's just great, it's funny, it's charming, it's the two of them, being themselves. It's Lois Lane being Lois Lane and Clark Kent being Clark Kent. It's great. In contrast to the Rick version of that moment where Clark just trips onto a fireplace or some coals or whatever, and he's like, and then Lois is like, you don't have a scratch on you. You must be Superman. Like, oh my god, the times that these movies were made in, man. I guess
what is so hilarious?
Go. No, I guess you can't just blame the times, because both of these scenes were made during the same time. So Rick just had needs to figure his life out. Donner had it down pat from the beginning.
But
yes.
What's so ironic about that is they probably changed that so that Margot Kidder doesn't look insane.
Well, I mean, that's a story for another time. So.
Funny. Speaking of insane, okay. Actually, this is a great segue. Did you know that Sean Young, who was in Blade Runner, famously, was so determined to play Catwoman in Batman Returns that she accosted Tim Burton and I don't know, but she apparently was harassing him about it, which leads me on to another great, fantastic, so bad it's good movie, fucking Catwoman.
I haven't seen it. I was gonna mention that because I haven't seen it because I knew to avoid it like the plague, even as a young whippersnapper. But I feel like watching it now would be so fulfilling. And we're gonna see Selena again in a couple months. So it'd be so interesting.
I'm very excited about that. But
this is Halle Berry's Catwoman, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about?
Yes, Halle Berry's Catwoman. Oh my god! Like, I'm not gonna spoil. I'm not gonna spoil anything for Bibo, but like that movie.
Well, wait, sorry.
Cinematography.
I said we're gonna see Selena again. She's not even Selena in that movie, right? She's like,
she's
Patience something. What?
Oh, she's not
Patience
Selena Kyle?
Phillips.
She's not Selena Kyle.
No, Halle Berry plays Patience Phillips because that's the kind of name they thought would go well with Catwoman.
Patience Phillips?
Patience Phillips.
Fair enough.
Guess what her love interest's name is?
What?
His name is Tom Lone. Tom Lone is the name of the love interest in Catwoman. And you know what the first thing... Okay, so like I love... what's her name? There's a character who's like... Selena's like quirky friend because it's the early 2000s and every female like protagonist has to have a quirky friend that's supposedly not as attractive as her, blah blah blah. And the first thing that this quirky friend says is lone rhymes with bone. You have to watch this movie, people.
I know.
It's a masterpiece.
I feel like it's the most hate watchable superhero movie of all time.
Oh my god.
Absolutely. Like there's a reason that like I swear to God that is an established director, like McGee or something, made that movie, and he's just calling himself Pitoff.
Wow.
Because Pitoff never did anything before or afterwards.
Oh my
and
God.
I swear it's just someone that wanted to wash their hands of that movie.
Oh my
you know
God.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And everything.
That
from
costume,
the cinematography,
man.
the editing, the costume design. Oh my God. It's just perfect. It's like it's made by... It's like... Again, like I always have this thing where I feel sorry for people because it's like made by people who like, it's like the costume designer never designed a costume before. And they were just somebody who had a different job And then they were like, make a costume. You know what I mean? And it's the same with cinematography. Like, I swear that the cinematographer was a cinematographer for commercials, especially skin cream and stuff like that. Because the whole movie, everybody looks like they're made of porcelain. And nobody told this person that cinematography is different in film than it is in like a 30-second advert. You can't have images like that on screen for 10 minutes. People are going to get like
weirded out.
It's
Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, I feel like it was made by people who they were just shoved into roles that they didn't want or weren't ready for, and it just comes out with the most amazing product.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Go ahead, Beeb.
Sorry, Dean. I wanted to say, like, we've clearly like dominated a lot of this episode, and I want George to get his stuff in there. I want to bring one.
I'm happy.
I want to bring one movie up that I feel, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I feel you'd have a lot to say about it. I think it counts as a superhero movie that is so bad it's good, but it's also pretty freaking awesome, like, in its own right. And that is, The Matrix, Revolutions? What's the new one? No, I'm not talking about The Matrix, but The Matrix Revolutions just came out, right? The fourth Matrix movie just came out, right? And, the Keanu Reeves plays a character named Neo, Mr. Anderson, who's also known as The One. And the movie that I wanted to bring up is The One, starring Jet Li.
The One. Nice,
I remember that movie. Oh man,
that is a 2000.
I remember the one.
In a movie, dude. Come on, you gotta love that shit.
I remember. Oh my god, like Steven Spielberg came out with Minority Report, and then that trailer came out of The One, and we were all like, "Oh boy, we have to watch it." Oh my god, it's gonna be.
It's so good, like the best pitch of like this fucking martial arts legend, right? Oh my god, he's fought so many bad guys in his history on cinema. Oh my god, who else can he fight? I know who he can fight. Himself. It's just so good. Oh my god, Georgie, you've seen The One, right?
I've seen the one. Yeah,
it's
early 2000s.
It's so early 2000s.
Yeah.
And what like spoiler alert for the one, but like what a perfect ending for that movie. It's just like he's just like fighting off versions of himself,
thousands of him.
This huge, exactly, this giant pile, and you're like, that's the ending. It's like, sorry, I thought that was the premise at the beginning.
Yeah,
was it? No, yeah. Oh my god, the early 2000s were such a magical time for cinema.
Who directed
By magical,
that?
I mean,
I bet who directed that just saw Minority Report, Highlander. Yeah. Highlander! Oh my god! That is the so bad it's good superhero movie.
I don't know about like Highlander, like after Highlander, like Highlander 2 is so bad it's good.
Okay.
But after that, I don't know, maybe it goes all the way around to just being nauseating again.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like... first of all, have you seen Highlander? Like, I have to have you seen Highlander 1 and 2, George, or any of the Highlander movies?
You know what? Let me Google it. I'm better with faces than names. I'm pretty sure I have.
Oh, dude, you got Christopher Lambert just like hamming it up for 2 hours. George, before you look it up, the late great Sean Connery plays a Spaniard, wielding a Japanese sword, wearing French garb. It is the best thing ever.
I have to say though, I genuinely, I unironically like the first one.
Me too.
That might be surprising,
but I'm just But
the second
I've
one
heard
is
about
like,
it. I'm looking at it now. I can't say that.
And Georgie, oh my god, super celebrated voice actor, the voice of Lex Luthor and Mr. Krabs, one Clancy Brown in one of his defining roles on celluloid, in my opinion. I forget his name, but
one of my favorite.
His timeless Clodo.
One of my favorite actors of all time.
Hell yeah!
I feel remiss that I didn't mention him as one of my favorite voice actors.
I know, same,
he's genuinely.
He plays this basically, George. He plays this chaotic, like apocalyptic bad guy, right? He's in all black.
Yeah.
He has like a mohawk, like a half mohawk or whatever. And then he's in this church, and then he blows the candles out. And then he does that, and he goes, "It's better to burn out than to fade away."
Oh,
So
okay.
good.
There it is. That's your.
That
is your poster tagline.
I would say that Highlander 1 is sort of like Blade 1.
Right.
Because it's like an 80s time capsule.
Right.
It's like, hey guys, everything about the 80s, freaking Queen? Katanas, freaking just like everything amazing about the 80s just went into that movie. And I genuinely think it's a genuinely like unironically good movie.
Yeah.
But Highlander 2, so the premise of Highlander 1, George, is that there are these
Immortals.
some people are just born immortal. And if one of them kills another one of them, and the only way that you can do that properly is to decapitate them, they gain all of their strength through something called the quickening. And there's no explanation to why that happens. Highlander 2 was like, I think we gotta fix that. And Highlander 2 was like, guess what, motherfuckers? They're aliens! Oh my god!
No.
It's just so bad.
No.
It's so...
So you could watch Highlander 1 and just be happy that's it.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
And
100%.
like,
I would
don't
recommend
even bother
Highlander.
watching 2. It'll just ruin your memory of 1. It'll just...
No, watch 2 because it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my god. So
Okay.
Queen does the entire soundtrack of the first movie, right, George?
Yeah.
And I don't know if this
Yeah.
was one of the songs they
I'm
made for the
sold on
movie.
this movie, man.
But Queen,
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Queen,
great.
Oh my god, Princess of the Universe is the carrier single from that soundtrack.
Yeah.
The Queen has a song called "It's a Kind of Magic," right? I don't know if they made it for Highlander
Yes.
2, but it's one of the best Queen songs, right? It's a kind of magic, and then
Yeah.
there's this moment in Highlander where he like rescue Christopher Lambert's character, the Highlander, the main character. He saves this kid. This little boy, and the little boy is like, "How'd you do that?" And then Christopher Lambert goes, "It's kind of magic."
Yeah, because he's got... Okay, here's the thing. Christopher Lambert plays a Scotsman, whilst the Scotsman, Sean Connery, plays a Spaniard. There's this one scene where it's like... Where Christopher Lambert is like, I eat haggis or whatever. And Sean Connery goes in his like Scottish accent. He's like... What's haggis? Christopher Lambert is like, it's pig entrails. In his fake ass Scottish accent. And then Sean Connery, who's trying to sound Spanish, is like, that sounds disgusting.
Oh my god!
And it's just
Can't
a
make
moment
that
of
shit
cinematic
up.
bliss.
You
Like,
cannot
it's
make that
just...
up.
It's all of that. It's the 80s in a time capsule, George. I know you love the 80s, plus some really genuinely kick-ass sword fights, so you can't go wrong.
Yeah. And Clancy Brown as the villain, man, is like it's amazing. It's like
I'm for it.
The story of Highlander is basically every fighting game wishes it was, right?
Yeah.
There can be only one.
There can be only one.
Yeah, it's fantastic movie and fantastic sequel for So Bad It's Good, genuinely.
That's you know what? Like, I was like kind of like, are we gonna be able to just pull out a lot of like superhero movies? Technically, I mean, whatever we're dubbing to be superhero movies, and we've gotten quite a bit. We've gotten quite a bit. Quite happy.
I feel like at this point you should take us into the main one that brought us to this topic to begin with, George.
Yeah,
No, I actually had two picks that like were what I had listed down, but as I looked into it, I realized that they're actually really well reviewed, which I was like, what?
Really?
Because like in my mind, they were bad movies, but intentionally bad movies that I loved, but I didn't realize how much of the world also loved them the way I love them.
Really?
When I saw the reviews, I didn't think they'd be that well reviewed, and they're right smack dab in the beautiful 2000s era, like.
Nice.
Which are
Cannot go wrong.
Which are Shaolin Soccer.
Dude,
I'm not.
I love Shaolin
No, I
Soccer.
love it, but it's like you know what? It fits that trope that it's like it's so clearly making fun of itself that You could
Yeah,
argue
it's very
that it's like,
self-aware.
it's in that category. And what I love even more than that is 2001 was Shaolin Soccer, and then 2004 is Kung Fu Hustle.
Kung Fu Hustle.
So
Yeah,
those
man.
were gonna be my picks, and then I was like, yeah, I wonder what the reviews are like. And then they're both like 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, so I was like,
Of course.
I don't think these even count because they're actually
That's
just
the
good
thing.
movies. They're
George,
just good
That's
movies.
the thing.
Have you seen God of Cookery?
No, I haven't seen. God
Oh
of
my
Cookery.
God. That was
haven't
like
seen
what
God of
put
Cookery.
Stephen Chow on the map before Shaolin Soccer
Really?
and Kung Fu Hustle. It's so good. Imagine Cooking
to
Master
watch.
Boy's ridiculousness. And there's another food anime,
I'm looking
right?
at the images now. Oh God, I'm watching.
There's
this tomorrow.
another food anime where they have these like insane reactions to the food, right? It's that, but
Yeah.
like before all of that. It's so good. You should see God of Cookery.
What's the one? Sorry, Bibo, where it's just about bread. Is that Cooking Master Boy? No. one that's just
no,
about bread.
that's something pan is the Japanese word for bread. But I know the one you're talking about. That's so good.
It's so funny. It's
You would know, George. What's the anime, the manga that's just about baking bread?
The one about baking bread, I'm not sure, but the two ones that were popular now, that got popular. Cooking Master Boy actually had a recent remake. They absolutely remade the show. I think it was like a last year release, or could be. But the most popular one that by far is Yukihira no Soma, which is Food Wars on Netflix.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Food Wars.
But Yukihira no Soma is it's finished already in its manga, and actually was completely up to date with the manga as that was going. But that's considered an ecchi, actually. It's like the ecchi category. Dean, I'm not sure if you know what ecchi is, but ecchi is like. If it's in the ecchi category, it's not quite R-rated, but it's
very suggestive.
Almost there. It's like, as in the amount. Some ecchi just kind of show boobs type of thing, but like if it's ecchi, like think of the smallest bikinis, or like just a lot of like kind of fan service, like fan service.
High School of the Dead.
In that degree. Yeah, High School of the Dead. I'm not sure if you've seen High School of the Dead, Dean, but that's ecchi. But that takes it kind of far, even. But to a crazy degree. But anime's a
Dean
whole
doesn't know
other
animes. That's a whole other
High
episode.
School of the Dead is something you should watch, Dean.
You should watch
it.
it.
Ecchi of all time, like, honestly.
Oh my God, I can't believe I didn't bring it up for our guilty pleasures, because it's such a guilty pleasure for me.
Yeah.
Like, some friends judge me for liking High School of the Dead, but I'm like, I don't care. Dude,
What?
it's boobs
High
and
School
zombies.
of the Dead is sick, man. I love High School of the Dead. But yeah, I can imagine why
we all watch Game of Thrones. That's live action. You know what I mean?
No, but High School of the Dead, Dean, like there's a scene, and this isn't really a spoiler, but it's a zombie show. It's like kind of a horror show, horror anime. And there's one scene where the girl's boobs are jiggling so much that because like he was like, wait, I need to use the sniper rifle, so he puts the sniper rifle in between the girl's boobs so that he can like get a clear shot.
Yep.
And like after he shoots it, of course, the jiggle effect of the gun cocking. And then when he shoots the shot, there is another girl who's mid-fighting zombie, whose boobs kind of like they're jiggling so much that the bullet like goes in between them as they're jiggling to shoot the zombie in the head.
Yep. He is not exaggerating. That's exactly how it happens.
Exactly the scene. Yeah, that's exactly the scene. But it's a good show. It's by all means like
Love
any
High
top
School of
ecchi list of all
I
time.
don't care.
It'll be on there. Yeah, that and High School DxD are like the two top ecchi shows. Like if you look at any listing.
Interesting how it's always high school. Interesting.
Which is so funny, right? Because you look at Japan and actually how strict their high school laws are. Like, you know, I mean, in terms of like how bad it is. Most Japanese schools won't even allow you to come into school if you don't have straight black hair. Like, there was like a controversy around it because if you had curly hair, natural curly hair, or brown hair, you would have to dye it black and straighten it.
Sad. That is so sad.
And straighten it because that's like because or you would if you had curly hair, you'd have to shave it because you can't have permed hair or any kind of color But what comes out in anime is you think all girls wear like short skirts and have pink hair, blue hair, green hair.
Yeah.
But like the reality is like the standard Japanese schoolgirl length is like under the knee or something. So I think they just release all their frustrations of high school into their writing for anime.
Yeah.
What do I know? I'm not Japanese.
Hey, you know what? We got about 7.5 minutes left, Dean. Tell us what other goodies you have when it comes to
let's talk about let's talk about the one that we were talking about last episode, because I think maybe people want us to hear more about. Because, but George, you haven't seen it yet. You got to see this movie. You got to see Blade Trinity, man. Like, you have got to watch the Blade movies in order. Like, because Blade Trinity is just like, look, it's not a spoiler if I just tell you some of the things that are wrong with it, right? I don't know. And like it's
I feel like it'd be fine, you know. It's Blade 2 is the important one, so
yeah,
I don't think we have to worry.
Blade doesn't have werewolves, right? It's just vampires.
It's just vampires.
Well, I don't know about the comics,
but
okay, all right. So because I'm thinking about the one that it's like there's a line in it, and I wasn't sure if it was Blade or Underworld.
It's probably Underworld.
Probably Underworld, but it's like, you know, half vampire, half lycan. Better than both, or something like that. Like,
for sure, that's Underworld.
That's Underworld.
So I was wondering, was that Blade? Was that Blade that? Because one of my best friends, like, he quoted that like every day, like half vampire, half. He just sometimes say it to me out of nowhere. He'd be like George, and be like, "What? Half vampire, half lycan, stronger than both." Like, and I'd be like, I haven't seen that movie. Like,
and he was so lame too when he became the hybrid.
The werepire. He was just like a silver.
He was just a gray creature.
I haven't even seen this movie. I just know the quote because of how much my friend would say it.
Yeah.
I've seen.
You need to watch Underworld as well.
Is there only one Underworld movie? Wasn't that
part
of like
a lot?
Yeah,
sorry.
that's why. Like,
I blew out my mic there.
I've seen one of the Underworld movies.
Okay,
here's a movie I loved as a kid, and we're gonna take an underworld actress into it. Was Van Helsing a good movie or a bad movie?
I think that fits so well.
I love it so much. Van Helsing, but I don't remember if it was bad or good because I watched it.
It's so bad it's good.
Okay,
that will be my last pick.
So both these vampire movies, Blade Trinity and Van Helsing, have Dracula, the big kahuna, in them, right?
Yeah.
Dracula in Van Helsing is so bad it's good. Dracula in Blade Trinity is just fuck off, dude. And he's
poor guy, played by Dominic Purcell.
Yes, who's pretty great.
Yeah, he's a good actor in his own right.
Frame,
but wow, miscast as fuck. Like, holy shit, he looks like Dracula's henchman. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, he just does. And if you line up all the Draculas, like, oh my god, can you imagine if you lined up all the Draculas? It's like Frank Langella, Bela Lugosi, Christopher Lee, who am I missing?
Gary Oldman,
Dark Knight, Gary Oldman, Dominic Purcell. It's like, what the fuck?
Sorry, Dean, I haven't seen it in so long, but George, you're gonna love this if it's true. But I seem to remember, because it's Blade Trinity, and it came out in like 2006 or whatever, and it was the mid 2000s, and everything was like, you know, like we're coming off, we're post Extreme, but we're just like cool, right?
Yeah.
I think because he looks like Dominic Purcell looks. He had a shaved head and all of that, and I think because he came back during the modern times, he didn't go by Dracula. He was going by Drake.
I just remembered that. Oh, that hurts. That's so painful. Oh,
I can't do that.
Drake.
There's just that part of your brain, right, that like regrets things that you did in middle school that just went off like an alarm when I heard that. It's just like
Drake You went by Drake.
Drake.
Oh, that's annoying.
Oh my god. Amazing.
Apparently
amazing
Morgan
movie.
Freeman has played Dracula in the movie.
Hey, I want to see
So,
that.
Really?
so has Gerard Butler in 2000.
Yeah, well, that was
Dracula.
That was that was
Yes.
that's another stay tuned.
And yes, Dominic Purcell right here. Drake, I mean.
Oh my god. Drake.
Drake, that's so annoying.
that knocked the wind out of me, man.
Oh,
just
man.
remembering that his name, because my brother makes fun of this all the time. I can't believe I forgot it. Like, he's like, my brother likes to like bust my chops whenever Dracula, like, I was watching Dracula, the Netflix show, and my brother just comes up to me and he's like, "Don't you mean Drake?" And I'm just
I can imagine Dylan just popping it.
Don't you mean
it's so
Drake?
funny.
Oh, shit.
So, and like that just goes to show how amazing that movie is and how much of a legacy it has left.
Okay, we have 2 minutes left, Dean.
Yeah, take us
Yeah,
home,
I
bud.
think
No,
it's time to
take it
sign off. So,
Yeah, take us
guys,
home, buddy.
thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for watching us laugh and be idiots and talk about movies that were probably made by really hardworking people.
I learned so much. I learned so much from this, man.
And but you know what? Every single movie that we mentioned here gave us a lot of joy. So no matter what the intention was, I think that it's always good to give people joy. And I think that we should always celebrate movies, whether they're good because they're meant to be good or whether they're so bad that they're good. What movies are so bad that you think that they're actually good? Let us know in the comments below. And, it is early days for us. We might actually, reply or, agree, disagree, have a conversation with you. So let us know. And once again, thank you so much for listening to our little funny geeky podcast. And we will see you next time. Take care, everybody.